Hello, folks. This is Integrity Films here, and I'm finally back from my 3-day vacation, even though I'm still on break at the moment. And I would like to say happy 80th anniversary to the Railway series. Now, I know the official date was yesterday, but I didn't have enough time to do this, so I thought I'd do this video now, despite some drama that's happening that I can't talk about because I'm trying not to get involved in drama anymore. Anyway, this is going to be a very special video, since, as I'm recording, this beloved franchise is now 80 years old. Yep, that's right, 80 years. 8 whole decades. 80 years ago, one man by the name of the Reverend Wilbur Awdry created a series of books about steam trains, which he told them to his son named Christopher, who was sick in bed with measles. The books became a success, and the Reverend continued writing until 1972, where he eventually retired. But then, in the 1980s, his son took over for his father and continued writing the Railway series books from 1983 up to 2011. At the same time, in the 80s, the books were then adapted for television by one woman named Britt Allcroft, under the title Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, which became a runaway success and was and still is seen and loved by not just children, but by both kids, parents, adults, and grandparents alike all around the world. Everyone knows what Thomas is, with the brand so great in pop culture, and the show had gotten an interesting reputation, but however a sad downfall. We all love him, and some of you hate him, but I just need to say that I had been a fan of Thomas the Tank Engine for like 20 years. And if you followed me on DeviantArt, you know that as of November of 2024, a lot of my favorites revolve around Thomas the Tank Engine nowadays, and maybe Transformers as well. And that's evident because there are a lot of Thomas the Tank Engine users out there. But at the same time though, I don't want to focus on making only Thomas content like all the time. I also want to focus on other stuff such as real trains in general, like Amtrak, etc. And maybe also other shows, movies, and franchises I like, such as Alf, Transformers, Cars, Toy Story, Scooby-Doo, Star Wars, Winnie the Pooh, some Disney films, The Simpsons, Mario, Sonic, SpongeBob, and my favorite DC films such as the Superman movies from 1978 to 1987, and maybe the Batman movies. But we're not going to talk about those right now. I want you to come with me on a journey through my history with Thomas the Tank Engine. And besides, if it wasn't for this beloved franchise, then I wouldn't have gotten into trains and the UK in general. These videos are going to be a little similar to how James A. Williams and The Unlucky Tug, and maybe how Dreamline Engine 75 and Temte 2009 made videos on why they love Thomas. Credit goes to them, by the way. So anyway, without any confusion or delay, here we go.
Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends was made possible in part by an underwriting grant from Amtrak, America's passenger railroad. Funding for this program was also been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support of viewers like you.
Now that we know about Thomas, I know you may be wondering, how did I get into Thomas in the first place? Well, I'll tell you. First of all, Shining Time Station was cancelled years before I was born, so I never watched it. Heck, I didn't even know it was the only way to bring Thomas and Friends to America at that time, because, I'm from the US after all. Anyways, it all started when I was born in 2004, and I think I started watching Thomas a few months later during the hit era, starting with the DVD of It's Great to Be an Engine, which contained episodes from Season 8, which were all narrated by Michael Brandon at the time. Yes, don't worry, I've seen Seasons 1 for 5 and 6 and 7, aka the classic series, even though Seasons 6 and 7 don't count as classic seasons. But the very first episode I remember watching was Too Hot for Thomas from Season 8 on the It's Great to Be an Engine DVD. And I thought the show was pretty cool. It had a nice cast of characters, it had a nice role building to it. There were some crashes that used to scare me as a kid, but overall, this show had a very calmer tone. Well, at least with other narrators like Ringo Starr, George Carlin, Michael Angelis, and Alec Baldwin. Well, in Season 5 only. They weren't too loud or obnoxious. I mean, this show is quite contrary, because it has a lot of passion put into it. It has a charming slice of life feel, entertaining stories that can inspire a lot of people, and a lot of great characters that we can look up to whenever we're feeling down. These characters have a few struggles, they have a few goals in life, but they can't help but accept the fact that they live on the island of Sodor. Like in the Season 3 episode, for example, All at Sea, where Duck wants to travel across the horizon, but then he realizes that, hey, it's actually great to be an engine. Did you get the reference to that one DVD? Anyways, it's actually great to be an engine because it can help you accomplish great goals. And fun fact, I actually watched this episode of All at Sea on 2 DVDs of 10 Years of Thomas and Percy's Ghostly Trick. Which, another fun fact, 10 Years of Thomas was my first introduction to the classic series. I think that the show has a lot of great morals and messages, well, only in Seasons 1 to 5 and 17 to 21. And to be honest, in my opinion, I honestly think that the classic seasons are more mature than the hit era seasons. I used to like the hit era when I was little, but now, as I grew older as an adult, I think I kinda grew out of it. You want to know why? Well, during the hit era, there were episodes where a character is, well, out of character. I mean, just look at the Season 8 episode Emily's Adventure, for example. She was out of character. Like, really. Emily was just a bossy idiot in this episode. She was too impatient and bossy towards Elizabeth and Trevor. Like, what the heck is wrong with you, Emily? You know what? I full-on regret watching this episode in the first place when I was a kid, and I never will watch it ever again. Also, I only like Emily in Season 7, even though I prefer Seasons 1 to 5. As I said, Seasons 6 and 7 are not classic seasons. I mean, they're just post-movie seasons after the movie Thomas and the Magic Railroad, which we'll get to that in a later video. Anyway, there are also some episodes where a character acts childish and immature. Like, look at Scar Louie the Brave from Season 9, for example. And fun fact, Season 9 is my least favorite season, and this is my least favorite episode in the entire show because, my God, Skarloey was just a spoiled, immature brat in this episode. He was a total jerk to Duncan and Rheneas, and kept boasting on how brave he tries to be. Like, Skarloey, you're better than this. Like, really, Hit Entertainment did a terrible job with Skarloey and Rheneas, and Michael Brandon he did terrible voices for them. They made them act like babies. Another example of this is Rheneas and the roller coaster from season 7. Like, my God, that episode used to terrify me when I was a kid. Well, because of Michael Brandon's narration for the US dub when I first watched this episode on PBS Kids Sprout when it first aired, back in 2007 or 2008 or 2009. But however, I preferred the original UK dub with Michael Angelis as the narrator. I remember watching the UK dub on YouTube with Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell's music, and I conquered my fear of the episode, which we'll get to that later. Anyways, I only prefer Skarloey and Rheneas in seasons 4 and 5, because they were treated like old, wise, and mature engines. And that's how they were in the Railway series. Another reason I only like Rheneas and Skarloey in seasons 4 to 5 is because they also like to face challenges as well. For example, they both start to malfunction while pulling passengers, but they are always determined to get them home, no matter what. But anyway, now we're done talking about the narrow gauge railway. Now let's talk about the island of Sodor itself. The island of Sodor is located on the northwest coast of England, and the Northwestern Railway has a lot of things. They have a shed for the engines to sleep in, they have stations to pick up goods and passengers, they have quarries, docks, harbors, etc. The island is packed full of trains, and they are led by a man named Sir Topham Hatt, but they call him the Fat Controller. And he is their authority figure. He tells the engines what to do. However, he's pretty strict sometimes whenever an engine screws up. And they all fear that they would get scrapped, but the Fat Controller will always love his engines just the same, and they are all still really useful. And he is very proud of them. As I said, if it wasn't for Thomas, then I wouldn't have gotten into trains in the first place. And when I was a kid, and now even as an adult during my vacation, sometimes at night, I would hear the trains rushing past my window.